Hello and welcome back to my channel. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. Let's begin. Chapter 1, Tickets to Ride. Serena walked out of the store grinning from ear to ear. With her hands in her pockets, she walked over to Ash cheerfully. "Look what I've won, Ash," she said, pulling out 4 tickets from her pocket. Ash, Bonnie and Clement looked at her with tired faces. You see, she has been spending the whole day shopping and visiting places in the town. Not an hour of productive training happened that day. Ash, who certainly would retort for this kind of expensive time, did not question this particular girl. He never knew why. He just sighed and smiled at her. Unlike the other girls he had traveled with, Serena was a calm and cheerful person who didn't have many mood swings. Never was he beaten and battered with a mallet, or yelled at or dragged around. "A movie?" he asked, smiling a little weakly yet cheerfully. "Nope." Serena replied with her hands on her hips. "Take another guess." "Well, Serena, it obviously can't be a ticket to the Champions League finals. Which I really wish it was. I guess it must be for some Pokémon fair, or some kind of show maybe," said Ash and shrugged. Serena looked stunned for a moment. He was almost right. This was her lucky day. Maybe she could bribe him into taking her somewhere. She looked around at Bonnie and Clement for an answer. They just shrugged. She walked up to Ash and held the tickets near his face. For a moment there, Ash looked as if he were hit by a thunderbolt. Which was partially true, since Pikachu was sitting on his shoulder, and was looking at the tickets with Ash, and was stunned too and released a light thunderbolt. He fell on the ground, because of the shock from Pikachu, and also because he was too stunned, with the same awestruck look, and stammered, looking at the teenage girl. "How did you get those?" Serena tucked the tickets away. "What? The tickets to the Champions League finals?" "Like I said, I won them in a draw," she replied, "but I'm not giving them to you." Ash's face was horror-struck. But why not?" "For being so thoroughly negative when you guessed about the tickets." Serena smirked. "Besides, what am I getting in return?" "Whatever you want," the raven-haired trainer exclaimed. "Really? You sure?" she pressed. "Sure." She looked around a little embarrassed at Bonnie and Clement, and hesitantly spoke to Ash in a faint whisper. "Will you go on a date with me?" "A date?" Ash said a little too loud. Bonnie giggled. Clement tried to shush her while trying to suppress his own smile. Ash looked blankly at Serena, who was blushing a dark red and with her gaze fixated on the ground. Suddenly, to everyone's surprise, "What's a date?" asked Ash. Bonnie and Clement fell on the floor dramatically, while Serena looked even more embarrassed. I mean, can we spend tomorrow together?" "Alone?" she rephrased, still blushing hard. Ash got up from ground and nodded. "Where shall we go?" And so the one-sided couple spent the whole next day together, browsing through malls and restaurants. She knew how bored Ash would get in movies, so she decided against it. To compensate that loss, she did more shopping at the expense of Ash's cards. "Wow, Ash. It looks like you have an entire bank stuffed in that card of yours." She twirled around with her arms spread out. Her new dress was captivating to all the bystanders, and not to mention Ash himself. For the first time, well, technically second time, as the only person Ash saw like this was Giselle from the original series, it should be, as she spent almost 2 hours trying on all the dresses and swim suites in front of Ash and asking his opinion on them. "Really? I didn't notice it," he said, staring at his Kanto region debt card. "I usually wire money from home and spend in cash." "Well, for every trainer whom you fight against and win, your Pokédex sends data to PLA and you win money. If you lose a battle, you lose money. I thought you knew that already. From the looks of your current balance, you've won many battles and some really, really high-level ones too. It's like you are a champion, that's how much money it has." "Well, this is my Kanto, Orange Islands account, and I used this account when I traveled through Kanto twice and when I was traveling through Orange Archipelago. This is also when I become the champion of the Orange League and the Kanto Battle Frontier winner. She stopped goofing around and looked at him stunned. Really? I mean you seem just like a beginner, don't take it offensively, but most of the Pokémon you seem to have aren't that, well. You know, that high of a level. Ash smirked. That's because I start over every journey with only my Pikachu. But then what about Pikachu? Shouldn't he be like a very high level? And if he is a high level, why did he lose to Viola's Surskit, to which he had an advantage over? Well, you know. I put a limiter on Pikachu just like all the gym leaders do. Serena put on a blank face not knowing what a limiter was. A limiter is an object put on your Pokémon's Pokeball to reduce its level temporarily. And as I go from one gym to another, I increase his level to match the gym leader's Pokémon. She mused on his statement for a few seconds looking at Ash with her still blank gaze. It seemed absolutely senseless in every possible angle. But, it was Ash. He must have something behind that logic. But why would he lose all the leagues just because he wanted to start fresh every region? Even if he did do that, why can't he use his other Pokémon in at least the league battles? Well, this is Ash we are talking about. Ash always does the impossible. Ash placed all the bags he was carrying on the table, unable to hold them for this long. They were at a small cafe near the Pokémon Center. So, did you enjoy our date? Serena asked. Well, it was fun. I got to visit the whole town, and restaurants, and so many cool places. The shopping mall had cool things too. You look really pretty in the clothes you tried in the mall, by the way. Ash replied while blushing a little, thinking about the bikini Serena tried on at the mall. Thank you, Ash, she said, blushing a bit. Do you think we could do this again sometime, just you and me? Serena asked with hope clear in her voice. Yeah, sure, why not? This is really fun, we can do this together very often. Serena let out a wide grin, with you, Ash, gladly. The two of them ordered some snacks and ice cream. Ash looked around and saw a hooded figure approaching their table. It took a moment, but he recognized who it was. Diantha, his eyes widened. Serena looked a little stunned too. Nice dress, Serena. She complimented, may I have a seat? Ash got up and pulled up a chair for her from a table besides them. Ah. She sighed, it's becoming tougher every day escaping from my assistant and my schedule. She called a waited and ordered a cup of coffee. She looked at the two of them. I'm sorry, have I interrupted something? No problem, Diantha. Ash said cheerfully. Glad we could meet you again. Sorry that you lost in the Champions League though. Well, you see, Diantha lost in the semi-finals round of the Champions League against Lance. Diantha smiled and dreamily looked into the sky. Well, I aim to win it the next time. Your region's champion has been sitting on the throne for quite a long time. I'll grab it the next tournament. Who is he? Serena asked. Red, Diantha replied, Red of Kanto. I'm not trying to flatter you, Ash, but Kanto trainers seem to have it in them for some reason. Believe it or not, all of the champion masters before Lance were from Kanto. Ash and Serena exchanged surprised glances. Wow, that's something really surprising. But don't worry, the next time I'm going to enter it and win the whole thing. You better watch out for me, Diantha, Ash said. Serena pulls out the tickets. Diantha, guess what? We have the tickets to the finals. That's really nice, she said, but, throw those tickets away, I'll have a few VIP seats booked for you. And soon the ordered food came by and the group stuffed their faces. To their surprise, the actor and champion decided to spend the night with the group at the Pokémon Center. While the champion has her own reasons, which is to escape from her assistant of course. They took a room on Ash's name and after dinner, they settled in for the night. But the presence of only 2 double beds and a single bed raised a few questions. The champion was granted the single bed, Clement and Bonnie shared a double bed. And Ash took the other bed, for Serena would be left with none. Serena knew the discomfort she would feel even at her age. Pulling out her sleeping bag out of her backpack she smiled, "See, I have arrangement for myself." "Oh, I'm sorry Serena," Diantha said, "I should have taken another room." No, it's perfectly fine." Serena insisted, "Besides, if you took another room, then wouldn't your assistant found out about it?" Ash interrupted suddenly, "You can share the bed with me. The bed can easily fit the two of us." There was a dead silence in the room, which was interrupted by a giggling Bonnie. "What's so funny, Bonnie?" asked Ash innocently. "You and Serena are going to share a bed," Bonnie said. All the while giggling. It took Ash some time to get it, but when he did, he turned a deep shade of red. Ash thanked the god for the room was dark and nobody could see his blush. It's not like we are going to do anything like that," Ash exclaimed. But before anyone could say anything Serena took the opportunity and jumped into the spot besides Ash, and slipped under the covers. Awkward. Was the thought lingering in everyone's head, except for the two for obvious reasons. Ash because he was feeling too comfortable from being so close to Serena, and Serena because she was in her own fantasy thinking about how she could get Ash to wrap his arms around her. Diantha just giggled faintly, which was unnoticed by everyone but Clement and Bonnie, with the latter giggling and Clement trying to lower the noise so that the couple couldn't hear it. "Hey Ash, why didn't you join this year's Champions League? You are the Orange League champion, right?" Diantha asked, changing the topic. "Well, Drake attends the Champions League instead of me every time because, even though I'm the champion of the Orange League officially, I didn't want to just stay in one place my whole life, so I asked Drake to continue as the champion, and when he gets defeated, then I will go and battle that person for the Orange League champion title. And since Drake is still undefeated, I never had to anyone yet." "Oh. So like you said, are you going to join the Champions League next year for the title of Pokémon Master?" Diantha asked. "Yes, I'm going to go to the Champions League after finishing the Kalos League, but if I win the Kalos League, I'm not going to participate in the Champions League though, since I have to train hard to defeat the Elite Four and if I win, then defeat you." Ash replied. "Oh, if you do win the league, then I wish you luck to defeat all of my Elite Fours, because you will need it." Diantha taunted Ash to get his spirits high and make him train harder to give her the challenge nobody could ever give her. "And it's good that you're attending the Champions League finals. Lance and Red are well experienced and powerful trainers you will ever see battle." Ash, ignoring the taunt, said, "Do you know anything about this Red guy? I have ever only seen him on TV, and even then he always wears his hood, which makes it hard to see his face. And he never replies to any media. And the only Pokémon that he ever released is his Charizard." "No, Ash. He never talks other than to issue commands to his Pokémon, but he said that he will reveal himself this year if anyone could defeat his Charizard." Diantha replied. "But that's impossible," exclaimed Ash, "nobody had ever even gotten close to getting a scratch on his Charizard, that Charizard is way too powerful. But Lance may have a small chance to defeat his Pokémon, since he has a few Mega Evolving Pokémon too." "Lance's Pokémon can Mega Evolve?" Ash piped up. "I never knew that." "His Charizard does," Diantha replied. "Only a single Pokémon can Mega Evolve during a battle, and since his Dragonite cannot Mega Evolve, his Charizard has become his new signature Pokémon. Charizard X to be precise. A Fire Dragon type." "Cool," Ash murmured. "I wish I could Mega Evolve my Pokémon as you guys do." There was silence in the room for a few minutes as the trainers pondered over their thoughts. Serena slowly shifted nearer to Ash and almost held his hand. She could get used to this every day. "Ash, after I met you for the first time, I did a small research on you." Diantha started. "Really, that's an honor," Ash said, surprised. Diantha giggled slightly. "Brandon told me that you conquered the battle frontier. Is that true?" "Yes, it is." Serena spoke out for her crush. "We were talking precisely about that before we met you today and also about why he doesn't use his old Pokémon from his other travels." "Exactly how many Pokémon do you have?" Diantha asked. About 50 to 60, he replied, proud of his accomplishment. Diantha scoffed, gaining a confused sound from Ash. I bet most of them are low-leveled and untrained. She said. That's what usually happens when you get carried away in catching new Pokémon every time. That's partially true, said Ash, but to me all of my Pokémon are strong and they really are very impressive. Do you have any Pokémon who can Mega Evolve? She asked. If I just had the Mega Stones. Just having stones will not suffice the prerequisites for Mega Evolution. The Pokémon and trainer should have a good relationship. Diantha pointed out. And the Pokémon should be at the highest of his level, powerful, skilled and loyal, and most importantly be able to control the power that comes with Mega Evolution. Charizard and I fought through all sorts of odds. I saw him grow up from a small, abused and broken Charmander to an arrogant rascal of a chameleon. That evolution was purely out of willpower, which shows his character. Then he evolved into a Charizard just to fly and take down an Aerodactyl. He saved me from being killed several times and never lost a single battle. Wow, Serena murmured. I want to see him. Sounds more like you except for the arrogant part. She snuggled into the raven-haired trainer, making him slightly uncomfortable. I don't always win all of my battles, Ash corrected and gently grabbed Serena's hand which she was trying to grab. That makes me different from him. Well, the way you win your battles compliments for that. She slowly placed her palm on his torso. How experienced is this Charizard of yours? The champion asked. Like I said. He never lost a battle. He has enough firepower to level down a whole field of boulders. Fought several legendary Pokémon and won against Articuno and Entei. All which he did without removing his limiter, the same goes for Pikachu too. Without the limiter, most of my Pokémon are at champion's level. And then I have my Sceptile, whom I saw evolve from a Trico. He is one of the most loyal Pokémon on my team. So loyal and connected that he could even wake up from a Dream Eater attack from a legendary Pokémon just upon my call. His high attack power and speed make up a deadly combination. He is even more controlled and collected than my Charizard. He's had the history of taking down a Darkrai with Leaf Blade. Also my Glalie and Heracross can Mega Evolve too, and if my Gabite evolves, in my story, Gible evolves when in the ranch training with the other Pokémon, then he could Mega Evolve too. Diantha calmly listened to the trainer from Pallet and had only one thing running in her mind, which she decided to speak out. Are you nuts? Why don't you have them with you now? Serena too listened expectantly for a logical answer. Well. There are a few reasons why. 1. The animators didn't let me do so. What? Asked both Serena and Diantha. While Clement and Bonnie both fell asleep in the middle of the conversation. Never mind. And the second reason is that they are too powerful for the gym battles. He replied, using them won't improve my skills as a trainer as much as working with a newer Pokémon would, and any of my Pokémon like putting the limiter on them, since it would make them look weak. The two ladies thought for a few moments over the raven-haired trainer's logic. It didn't make sense for Serena though, and Diantha too found a few flaws to argue with. Both the girls had one question in common. How many years do you want to do this? They asked simultaneously and giggled at the coincidence. The raven-haired trainer had no answer. Perhaps he had another reason in his subconscious that didn't admit answering that question. The champion shuffled in her bed and peeped down. I want to see them the first thing tomorrow. Diantha said. I want to see your most powerful Pokémon tomorrow morning. Ash nodded. Can you put your arms around me? Serena asked mocking innocence, I'm feeling a little cold. Ash nodded and put his arms around her. If you still feel cold, you can share my Jack Dash. That's enough. Diantha interrupted calmly suppressing her jealousy and embarrassment at the scene below, let's just fall asleep. The cold will vanish soon. Chapter 2, Meeting the Pokémon. Ash woke up early the next day to feel something heavy on his chest. Without opening his eyes, Ash searched what was on his chest and kept checking it out to find out what it was. His hands found something very soft and firm, and he loved the feeling of grpng them, so he continued doing what his heart was telling him to do. He finally opens his eyes to see a sleeping Serena on his chest, and the soft and firm thing he was grpng was her brsts. Ash, seeing that he was doing something inappropriate, jumped out of the bed and ran into the bathroom, while taking his buddy with him who was also sleeping by his tail, and the shocking thing was that he did all of this without waking up Serena. Ash, still in his shock, got ready and went to the video phones to call Professor Oak to get the Pokémon from him. He dialed Professor Oak's number in the video phone, and after a while the screen lit up showing Professor's back. Ash started laughing. "Professor, change the camera view to show you face, not your back." "Oh. Ha ha ha." Professor clicked several buttons and now the screen shows his face. "So, how are you, Ash, my boy? I assume you want to exchange some of your Pokémon." "I'm fine, thank you, Professor. I do want to exchange my Pokémon, but is there a way to have more than 6 Pokémon at a moment?" Ash asked. "Oh yes, my boy, most elite trainers can hold more than 6 Pokémon at a moment, and an elite trainer can hold 10 Pokémon each, and since you are already an elite trainer you can hold 10 Pokémon too, and since you won the Orange League and the Kanto Battle Frontier, you can carry another 6 Pokémon each, 2 for winning the Orange League and 4 for winning the Kanto Battle Frontier. So now you could hold 16 Pokémon in total." "Wow! Why didn't you say that I could hold more than 6 Pokémon before?" Ash asked. "Well, since you always want to start new each region, I didn't know if you would want to use your other Pokémon or if you will catch more than 6 and then keep them with you." Oak replied. "Oh well, past be past, but can you send me my Charizard, Sceptile, Pidgeot, Gardevoir, Heracross, Glalie, and Lucario?" Ash listed his Pokémon. "And did any of my Pokémon evolve, Professor?" "Alright Ash, I will get those Pokémon, and your Pignite evolved into an Emboar last week, and your Gabite evolved into a Garchomp yesterday." "Awesome! Professor, can you send those 2 guys too?" Ash exclaimed. "Sure Ash." Professor said, going out to get all of the Pokémon needed. Oh man, I'm so excited to see all of my Pokémon now." "Aren't you too, Pikachu?" Ash asked. Pika Pikachu. "Aha, here you go my boy, all the Pokémon you requested." "Thank you, Professor Oak," Askmok saluted, and so did Pikachu. "Call you later." "Good luck Ash," Professor said, waving his hand. The raven-haired trainer took a deep breath and looked at the Pokeball. "Let's see what a champion says about my Pokémon," Ash whispered to his Pokeball. And so after everyone woke up and had breakfast, they walked out of the Pokémon Center and to the battlefield behind it. "Come on Ash," Serena pestered, "I can't wait to see them. Come on out guys." He threw all of his Pokeball into the sky. "I'm bad with appearances, so I'll just say all the Pokémon's names." With roars and shouts of their names, all of his Pokémon came out of the Pokeball. Ash waved his hand to all of his Pokémon, and was greeted with a huge blast of fire, courtesy or Charizard. Ash looked at all of his Pokémon proudly even after being charred. His Talonflame, Greninja, Hawlucha, Noivern, along with his Pikachu make up his current Kalos team. And the Pokémon he got from the ranch were Charizard, Sceptile, Glalie, Heracross, his newly evolved Garchomp and Emboar, Lucario, Pidgeot and Gardevoir. The Lucario was given to Ash by Corona after defeating her in a gym battle. She was also the one who gave our hero the key stone. And the Gardevoir was caught by Ash while traveling through Sinnoh region. Everyone was really surprised, even Diantha, because nobody has more than 10 Pokémon who are not elite trainers and are champions of some region or frontiers. Diantha never knew that Ash was an elite trainer even after the small research she did. After recovering from her shock, she looked at all of his Pokémon with a critical eye. Charizard flew down and planted his feet beside Ash with a thud. He gave Ash a "What's up" look. The champion walked around Charizard and examined his structure. "Very experienced Pokémon you've got here Ash," she said as she walked behind and picked up the lizard's tail. Ash looked horrified as she did that. But to his surprise Charizard didn't do anything. If not anything else, the fire type's eyes were widened too. No one even remotely dared to touch him except Ash, and of course Charla, not even Liza. The tail fire looks larger than usual, but it shows lack of control of power and arrogance. The champion then walked in front of the dragon and opened its mouth, overgrown canines, and very sharp, she mused, has some nice dragon-type moves, possibly dragon breath. She then looked at the wings, steel wings. Ash nodded. She then proceeded to Sceptile, very long tail, she mused, must have had a nice forest life before he met you that gave him all that calm and collected nature. She then walked some distance behind Sceptile's vision and to everyone's horror picked up a huge rock. Charizard smirked, and just when Diantha threw the rock at the forest Pokémon, Charizard let out a fire blast at his sparring partner. Sceptile momentarily turned its head and noticed both the attacks coming at him, and then he disappeared. The next thing Charizard felt was a pound attack on its butt, and the next moment it was thrown into Sceptile's old position, then hit by his own fire blast and then hit with a rock on his face. Charizard growled in pain and confusion. Tylee. The forest Pokémon smirked and put its signature twig in its mouth. Diantha looked impressed, reflexes are top-notch, and Pound is well practiced, and the fact that it didn't attack me back shows its control. Diantha then did the same kind of inspection on Ash's other Pokémon. All of which impressing her. And when she came to Gardevoir, she was really impressed. This Pokémon could go head-to-head with my own Gardevoir in its mega form and still stand its ground for a very long time, and if they were lucky, she could even win against my own. She mused. Hey Ash, do you have a key stone and any mega stones? She inquired. Well, I have a key stone which was given to me by Corona, but I don't have any mega stones, Ash replied. I have a spare Gardevoirite, if you need one. Diantha said. You do? Awesome. Can I have it, please please please? Ash said with puppy eyes. Sure, said a blushing Diantha. He looks kinda cute with those puppy eyes. In order to hide the blush and to change the topic, Ash Ketchum, you will be keeping these Pokémon with you in your Pokeball and not in the lab. The champion said, sternly poking her index finger into the teen's chest. Pokémon of these kinds need a regular trainer to maintain their physique and abilities. Yes ma'am, Ash said, scared of the look on the champion's face. And so the whole day was spent training the Pokémon at the Pokémon Center premises, and soon night dawned. The trainers decided to camp out the night, so they borrowed some food from the Pokémon Center and left for the nearby forest. Ash was roasting 3 huge pieces of steak that he had picked up from the nearby store. That's just too much steak, don't you think? Clement pointed. Nope. It's not for us, it's Charizard's return present, since he doesn't like poke chow like my other Pokémon do. Ash replied. Charizard, who was nearby, heard that and walked over, his mouth watering over the steak. He picked one large slice up and devoured it in one go. Bonnie and Diantha just looked horrified. He eats as much and much voraciously than you do, Ash. Serena said, laughing sheepishly. Before anyone could say anything else, the fire type gulped the second one and plowed its claws through the third, and walked off carrying it with him. It's still a wild Pokémon. Laughed Diantha. A few minutes later Charizard came up to the group and looked around for more steak, DMN Ash. He must be really hungry. Nope, he just likes the steak, Ash said. Charizard's eyes fell on the marshmallows. He picked up the whole bag and opened it surprisingly gently for a giant fire lizard. Ash grabbed it and gave the fire type a stern glaze. Charizard sat down on the ground and grumbled something under his breath, which made everyone roll on the floor laughing. He's just a kid. Diantha laughed. Let me roast it up and you can have them. We can have them. Ash said, placing the bag down. First let me light a fire. Charizard replied by blowing smoke onto his face. Hey, when did you learn smoke screen? Ash asked, surprised. Charizard just shrugged. Okay, why don't you go and collect some firewood for the fire? Ash asked, gaining a snort and laughter from the dragon, then I'll roast marshmallows for ya. It just snorted again and let out an arrogant laughter. Alright Charizard, if you don't, then you'll have an experience of Pikachu's thunder full power, Ash said with a smirk, with which Charizard gained a fearful look. Do you understand? Charizard nodded vigorously and ran into the forest to get some firewood, all the while flinging his tail under Ash, throwing him straight at Serena who was sitting on a log. He fell directly into her, and the pair crashed on the ground. He took a moment's time to regain consciousness and realize the awkward position they were in. He apologized and got up from the ground, leaving behind a blushing Serena, all the while cursing under his breath about arrogant lizards. He then held out his hand, sorry for that. A look at him stretching his hand brought back memories of how they met for the first time. Lost in her thoughts, she accepted the help and got up from the ground. He glared at Charizard, who had just come with the firewood and was starting the fire with his tail fire. In its hand the fire type held a small stick, the end of which holding a marshmallow. Lazy Pokémon. Charizard, who heard the comment, blew a flamethrower at its trainer, and burnt him to crisp. Oh, how much I wish you had some DSPLN Charizard. Charizard snorted at his trainer. See? That's what I'm talking about. Ash snapped. Lance's Charizard can Mega Evolve because it is a disciplined Pokémon and can control its power. You keep going like this, and you will never have the right qualities for Mega Evolution. Look at Lucario and Sceptile, learn from them. Sceptile and Lucario, who were a few feet away talking to each other, looked a little frightened, raised their hands up and gave a, I don't know what he's talking about bro, don't involve me into this, look. Not the best time of the day to fight a set of flame Pokémon. Ah, those burns. Charizard rolled on the floor laughing. Ash left Charizard behind and rejoined the group. He picked up a raw marshmallow and started munching it. I just wish he was more disciplined. You know, power alone doesn't make a Pokémon strong. The group sympathized with him. Unbeknown to him, this was overheard by Charizard, who looked at his trainer with the marshmallow slowly charring in his hand. Oh, he's going to get it now. Chapter 3, Champions League Finals. The next day before going for the Champions League, Ash went and called the professor and got back Pikachu's Pokeball, just in case if there was an emergency. And so our group goes to watch the Champions League Finals. Champions League, the most popular Pokémon league and the hardest to beat of all the leagues, which is held only once every 3 years, is the buzz of the Pokémon world in the 2 months. The Champions League winner is informally declared the ultimate Pokémon master. Red, the champion of all of the regions, has been defending the throne for almost all his life, just like all his Kanto precedents. His Charizard was one of his strongest Pokémon and the only Pokémon he ever showed to the Pokémon world. His Charizard and him had never lost a single battle against any of his opponents, giving him the name Red the Destroyer. Even the great Cynthia of the Sinnoh region stood no chance against the likes of Red. Lance, who defeated all the elites from Kanto and Johto, was made the champion of those regions because Red declined the offer to become the champion of any of the champions. Now, with Lance's Charizard finally mastering Mega Evolution, the battles with Lance were almost one-sided. The fact that all the preceding champion masters were from Kanto was in itself a boost to the region's popularity. This was the precise reason every hotshot or new trainer craved to battle trainers from Kanto. Be it jealousy or the sheer satisfaction of defeating a trainer from the champion masters region. One such trainer was Paul, from Veilstone City. Cynthia had invited him to witness the finals with a hope that he would learn something from Red and Lance. With Paul's consistent performance in the leagues, Cynthia had high hopes for the purple-haired trainer, now that he had changed in his ways of treating his Pokémon. It was 6 in the evening, and the sky was getting darker by every second. The buzz of the public audience was at the peak of the day, with the match almost about to start. The VIP section was filled up slowly with champions, Elite Fours and their pals. Diantha led Ash, Serena, Clement and Bonnie to a few chairs in the front row. You guys stay here, I'll just be right back. My assistant is killing me. Diantha said, putting her phone away, and rushed off, leaving the group at the seats. I've never been in the VIP section before, this feels great. Bonnie said, jumping in her seat. Clement just sighed and used his robotic hand to stop her sister from jumping in front of everyone. Serena took a seat beside Ash and yawned, slightly leaning on his shoulder. I just can't wait for Lance to use his Mega Charizard X. Yeah, I'm excited too, Ash mused. I'll be seeing Lance after a very long time today. Excuse me. May I have this seat? Ash heard a familiar tone asking Serena for the only seat beside her. Ash turned his head, wondering who it was. Paul. Ash Ketchum. The two rivals stared at each other for a few seconds. How have you been doing? It's been 2 years, Ash. I'm fine, what about you? The raven-haired trainer chuckled. Never expected you to ask that. The Sinnoh native scoffed. The other three looked at the duo in amazement. What, you guys know each other? Clement asked. Ash nodded. He's my rival from Sinnoh region. We used to be at each other's throats about our training methods. Paul looked at the group expressionless, his way of introducing himself. Serena and Ash shifted left to accommodate Paul. A few minutes later Diantha returned with Cynthia. Well. Ash Ketchum, fancy seeing you here. Cynthia smiled, giving the raven-haired teen a gentle hug. Cynthia, nice to see you again. Nice to see you again too, Ash, she replied. Diantha said that you had some Pokémon that could Mega Evolve. Yes, I do. Ash said. Since any trainer could only use one Mega Pokémon per a battle, and since I only use my Garchomp to Mega Evolve, I would like you to have my Lucarioite. I was told that you had a Lucario, so I thought you would like to have it. Cynthia said, taking out the Lucarioite out of her bag. I would love to have it. Thank you, Cynthia. Ash exclaimed. Oh, Ash, before I forget, here's the Gardevoirite I promised to give you. Diantha said. Thank you, Diantha. Ash exclaimed, happy about getting all the Mega Stones. Hey look, it's Professor Sycamore. Serena said, pointing to a few rows back. The professor noticed them and waved his hand. And so, after talking to each other for a while, Ash went to put the Mega Stones on his Pokémon. Ash came back just in time to see the finals match start. The battlefield was revealed to be a partially land and partially deep water. The two champions stood on the elevated platforms looking at each other silently. The cries of spectators didn't seem to register to them at all. Ash felt his waist itch a bit at his belt, below a certain Pokeball. He ignored it for a while, but slowly it started to burn there. He plucked the Pokeball out. Charizard, his brows furrowed. What are you getting restless about? Welcome to the 49th Pokémon World Championships Finals. Welcome, James. A female commentator sounded through the microphone. Thanks, Jessie. It's a very nice evening. I wish both our finalists the very best of luck. Well, at least to champion Lance, he needs it the most. The male commentator said. Lance's fans booed at the commentators and diehard fans of Red laughed out loud. Team Rocket. Ash narrowed his eyes. What the hell are they doing here? Why are you holding that Pokeball in your hands, and why the hell are you shuffling it between your hands? Paul looked at his ex-rival ridiculously. One of my Pokémon is a little set off because I said something to it yesterday. Really? Paul raised an eyebrow. So, you've finally taken into my way of training Pokémon. No way, Ash retorted with distaste clearly present on his face. If anything else, this Pokémon treats me like you treat your Pokémon. Amusing, Paul smirked, my kind of Pokémon. The battle between Red and Lance will now proceed. All regular rules apply for the battle, with the addition to trainers are allowed to use one Mega Pokémon in the battle, the referee said. Are the trainers ready? He asked, getting a yes from Lance and a nod from Red. The battle begins. He said, dropping the flags in his hands down. Ash keeps on shuffling the Pokeball in his hand from one hand to another so that his hands don't get burned. Just as the referee said, the battle begins. Charizard's Pokeball burst open in a small but concentrated ball of fire, burning the Pokeball as he came out. Charizard came out looking at the battlefield with an eager look on his face. He looked excited and his tail was burning a lot stronger than it was ever before. Maybe it was a side effect of breaking the Pokeball or something. Charizard. You just broke a perfectly valuable Pokeball and you even broke your limiter put on your Pokeball. Ash scolded his Pokemon. Do you know how expensive the limiter seals were to buy for all you guys, and you just broke one? Charizard just looked down, not looking into his eyes. Oh well, since you have already came out, why don't you stay out and watch the battle since you broke your Pokeball, Ash said glaring at Charizard. Red as usual sent out his Charizard, while Lance started with his Salamence. The battle was pretty quick, but before Salamence went down, he attacked Charizard with a very powerful Hydro Pump which took a lot out of Charizard, but he took out Lance's Altaria and Gyarados, but they didn't go down without a fight. Knowing that this battle was very important to their master, Altaria managed to strike Charizard with a powerful Hyper Beam, even though only his leg got hit with the Hyper Beam, while Gyarados hit Charizard with another Hydro Pump when Charizard hit Gyarados with a Thunder Punch, effectively defeating it. After which they were given a half-hour break to rethink their strategies, since Lance already lost 3 of his Pokémon. All the while when the battles were going on, Charizard was looking at the strong Charizard with hearts in his eyes, thinking about when he would get to battle a Pokémon this strong. With Lance in his room. What am I going to do? Even after getting weakened by 3 Pokémon, with 2 being Pokémon to which the Charizard had a disadvantage, his Charizard still pulls up strong and defeats his Pokémon. I at least want to defeat that Charizard of his. Lance suddenly remembers the lessons Mr. Goodshow made him remember about all the rules of battles, and the responsibilities of a champion. He now thanked him for the lessons. Battlefield. Lance came out looking better than before, exerting an aura of nervousness, but also an aura of power. I'm going to defeat that Charizard for sure. Lance released his Garchomp, while Red again sends out his Charizard, who was looking a little better from taking the 30 minutes break. The aerial battle between Garchomp and Charizard went on for about 20 minutes, in which Garchomp managed to hit Charizard with a series of stone edges which hit Charizard's wings, making it unable to fly. But after that, everything went down. Garchomp got defeated by Charizard's Dragon Rush. Lance then sent out his signature Pokémon, Dragonite. Even though Dragonite isn't his strongest Pokémon, it still is his second powerful Pokémon, even able to defeat his Charizard when he isn't in his Mega form. Lance started things out by using a powerful Thunder, which hit Charizard because his wings were damaged and was unable to fly away, and the pain from the Hyper Beam which hit his leg made it hard to run away. Red retaliated by using a super fast Fire Blast, which hit Dragonite, making it waver in its flight. Lance then ordered Dragonite to use Dragon Rush, which hit Charizard, but didn't do much, and while Dragonite hit Charizard with the Dragon Rush attack, Charizard used a Thunder Punch on Dragonite, leaving a weak Dragonite in the air. Lance then ordered Dragonite to use Roost, which regenerates a Pokémon's health. As Dragonite was using Roost, Red ordered Charizard to use Flamethrower on Dragonite. Dragonite, dodge! Lance exclaimed. Dragonite did so, but because he had to dodge, he couldn't complete his Roost. But still, he gained enough health to withstand another Flamethrower or 2 from Charizard. Charizard, use Flare Blitz. Charizard did as he was told and used a very slow Flare Blitz on Dragonite, because of the damage in his wings and legs. Even then Dragonite wasn't able to dodge as he too was weak and slow, making him faint, leaving Lance with only his Charizard. Or so we thought. Salamence, go, Lance said throwing a Pokeball into the air. His Salamence from before came with a roar, making the crowd murmur about how he could use a fainted Pokemon. The battle between Lance's Salamence and Red's Charizard will now begin, the referee said, getting another round of murmurs about how the referee accepted to using a Pokemon twice. Ash smirked seeing Lance using a Pokemon twice. Seeing the smirk on Ash's face, Serena asked, "Hey Ash, why are you smirking and why are you not confused about how Lance could use a Pokémon more than twice? You'll see Serena, you'll see, Ash said cryptically, gaining a confused look from Serena, but decided to not ask him about it. Seeing the confusion in everyone's eyes, Good Show took the show into his hands. As I can see all of you murmuring about how Lance could use a Pokémon twice. It's as simple as a pie. It says clearly in the League Code of Conduct that every trainer in the Pokémon world when in a 6-on-6 battles could revive one of his Pokémon to use it again in the battles. Said Good Show, gaining several ohs and ahs from the audience. Seeing that everyone was clear with the rules, Lance ordered the first move, use Hydro Pump. Salamence used the Hydro Pump, making Charizard even weaker than before. Red then ordered a Flame Thrower on Salamence, which Charizard did, but the flames were a lot weaker than they were at first. Seeing that Charizard was not going to last long, Red decided to take a risk and use Flare Blitz to take down Salamence in one move. Charizard ignoring the pain flew up and rammed into Salamence with a blue aura surrounding Charizard, not the usual red aura. Blaze, Lance whispered with awe present in his voice, his Charizard has never managed to get Blaze, Red's Charizard got Blaze. After using the move, Charizard was seen with sparks flying from his body, showing that the recoil damage hit him. Salamence fainted again after taking a devastating Flare Blitz from Charizard, which was powered by Blaze, making it even stronger than ever. Lance sighed and returned his Salamence, saying his thanks for battling hard. Salamence is unable to battle, Charizard wins. Lance, please send out your next Pokémon, the referee said, and then turning to face Red, Red, do you want to exchange your Pokémon, or if you have a Mega Stone, use it on your Pokémon? The referee asked. Red just looked at the referee with a blank stare. Salamence is unable to battle, Charizard wins. Lance, please send out your next Pokémon. The referee said. Lance then released his Charizard, for which the crowd burst out into cheers at the sight of the fire type. The referee then turning to face Red, Red, do you want to exchange your Pokémon, or if you have a Mega Stone, do you want to use it on your Pokémon? The referee asked. Red just looked at the referee with a blank stare. He looked at Charizard's tired and weak face, and then at the shaking Pokeball on his belt. He did this several times, and then nodded at the referee and returned Charizard with a small smile. Look at that. Red actually is gonna use a different Pokémon in a battle other than his Charizard. This is gonna be epic. The battle between Mega Charizard and Red's new Pokémon will be so epic. Ash exclaimed, jumping up and down, Pikachu and Charizard imitating their trainer. I know Ash, this is going to be epic, but please stop jumping up and down like some Mankey who is high on poke powder. Serena said looking at Ash and his Pokémon jumping up and down with an amused smile. Diantha and Cynthia just giggled. Paul, who is always seen with his trademark scowl on his face, is now trying hard not to smile seeing Ash and his Pokémon jump like they were on high. Pikachu, battle stance, Red said. I used Pikachu because most of the people said to use Pikachu, and I personally wanted to use Pikachu since he is his strongest Pokémon in all of the games where he is a NPC. The crowd's cheers were even louder than for when they cheered for Lance's Charizard. That's because this is the very first time that they ever seen any other Pokémon of Red, which wasn't his Charizard. Pikachu said looking awed at the power radiating from Red's Pikachu. I know buddy, I know, that Pikachu looks just as strong as you are, Ash said, looking just as awed as Pikachu. And Charizard? Charizard just looked irritated that his favorite Pokémon was returned. But changed his mind after seeing Lance's Charizard, and started rooting for him. He even knew that the Charizard won't last long against that powerful Pikachu, but he still rooted for one of his kin. A Pikachu huh? Then let's end this faster. Lance smirked, Charizard, Mega Evolve, said touching the key stone on his left wrist. The battlefield shone bright white as Charizard slowly evolved into Mega Charizard X. With blue flames spitting out of its mouth, the now dragon flying type roared loudly. The newly arrived Pokémon fired a flamethrower into the night sky, lighting up the entire battlefield. The crowd went berserk at the show of sheer power. James, this Charizard might just finish this battle in a flash. I don't think so, Jesse. That Pikachu looks even powerful than the twerp's Pokémon. Nobody other than Ash, his mother, and Professor Oak knows that Ash uses limiters on his Pokémon, and now Serena, Clement, Bonnie, Diantha, and Cynthia know too, because Ash told them, and Diantha told Cynthia. Maybe, but he's a twerp, which means that his twerp-y Pokémon will be just as idiotic their trainer, but I still root for that Charizard of Lance's. He's gonna finish the battle in a flash. Did you hear that, Flash? Flash is not damage-dealing attack, Jesse. At least that's what this card says. Somewhere in another room 2 commentators lay on the ground in a fetal position. GGS covering their mouths and hands tied behind their backs. Hearing the comments by their hijacking commentators made them sicker than the GGS did. The only thing they were worried was being fired by the League for the disaster. Cards. Seriously? One of them thought. That Jesse's gonna get it. I mean it when I say it. Ash exclaimed, angry about the comments Jesse said about him and his Pokémon. But he was being restrained by Charizard, who was equally angry but could control his anger, unlike his trainer who was seeing red. Serena, Bonnie, and Clement just sweat dropped, who were watching the scene. Cynthia and Diantha just looked amused. Paul didn't even pay attention to the chaos going on in front of him, instead he was focused on the battlefield, watching for any potential strategies he could learn from the battle which would start any moment now. Let the battle begin. The referee waved the flag, taking his suspicious eyes off the commentator's podium. Start off with a dragon breath. Lance ordered. Charizard instantly released a huge blue and green beam at Pikachu, which easily dodged the attack thanks to its high speed. Use Electro Web, Red ordered calmly. Pikachu quickly fired a bolt of electricity which took the form of a web, and fell on Charizard who was too slow to dodge or burn it, which reduced Charizard's speed, and did minimal damage because of his type advantage over electric types. Charizard, fire continuous flame throwers on that Pikachu, Lance commanded his Pokémon, who obeyed him without any question. Pikachu, keep dodging them and use Electro Web continuously. Red said to his Pokémon calmly. Charizard kept on firing flame throwers which Pikachu kept on firing. But he wasn't much lucky, because 3 of the flame throwers struck Pikachu even with the speed he was known for. Pikachu fired Electro Webs at Charizard, all of which struck Charizard, reducing his speed greatly, and doing some damage too. Use Dragon Pulse, Charizard, Lance said, getting irritated that his Charizard's speed was greatly reduced. Use a barrage of Electro Ball on Charizard, power them up by using a Thunder on the Electro Ball, Red said, with a small smirk on his face. The very moment Charizard fired a Dragon Pulse, Pikachu fired a barrage of Electro Ball on Charizard, which managed to destroy the Dragon Pulse, and then Pikachu used a overpowered Thunder on the Electro Ball, making them even powerful than they already were. And just as everyone thought that was the end of the attack, use Volt Tackle on him, get inside the Electro Ball. Red said. Just like Red said, Pikachu ran into the Electro Ball, his body taking on a yellow aura from the Volt Tackle, and then the very second he went into the Electro Ball barrage, all of the Electro Ball merged into Pikachu, giving him a very shiny golden body, and also making all the Electro Ball around him to morph into a very large Pikachu shape, which looked very deadly, with large arcs of electricity coming from the large Pikachu. The large Pikachu slammed into Charizard, who was too amazed to dodge the attack. The attack met Charizard, and a huge blast came from the collision, which shook the whole stadium, covering the battlefield in smoke, and making everyone cough because of the smoke. After a bit, the smoke cleared, and the result made each and every person to cheer loudly. Pikachu could be seen standing on his hind legs, panting hardly because of using huge amounts of electricity. But what caught the eyes of everyone was that Charizard was still standing, although barely, but changed back from a Mega Charizard X to a normal Charizard. Red smirked, Pikachu, use a light thunder wave on Charizard. Come on Charizard, you can do it, try using a flame thrower, Lance encouraged his Pokémon. Charizard tried using a flame thrower, but all that came out was a puff of smoke from his mouth. Pikachu used a light thunder wave, which knocked the Charizard onto his back. The referee went close to see if Charizard was still on, or fainted. Charizard is unable to battle, Pikachu is the winner, which means that Red will continue on being the champion of the Champions League. That was an amazing battle. Ash exclaimed at the top of his lungs. Yeah, it was, said Serena, Bonnie, and Diantha simultaneously, and then giggled at their coincidence. Cynthia looks like she was thinking hard about something. Ash, noticing this, questioned her, "Hey Cynthia, what are you thinking so hard about?" Cynthia snapped out of her thoughts and blushed, noticing that everyone was looking at her, mainly Ash. "Well, I just noticed that Red uses strategies and the way he becomes one with his Pokémon, just like you do, Ash," Cynthia said. "I use good strategies?" Ash asked, bewildered that he could even use a strategy in his battles. "Of course you do, silly," said Bonnie, Serena, Cynthia and Diantha simultaneously, and then giggled again at their coincidence. Paul, who was silent until now, said, "Of course you use strategies in your battles. How did you think you defeated me, and defeated two of Tobias' Pokémon and your other rivals and other strong opponents just by using attacks?" Paul stated. "Yeah, Ash, that's one of the reason why I traveled with you throughout the Kalos region. It's because you have a very strong bond with your Pokémon, and you are very good at battling," Clement said, joining the conversation. I guess," Ash said. "You are a great strategist, believe me, Ash," Cynthia said, looking into Ash's eyes. "Thanks, Cynthia, thank you guys," Ash said, showing his famous grin which made Serena, Cynthia, and Diantha to blush. "I needed that." After the ending ceremony, where Red got the winning for winning the Champions League, and was crowned the Pokémon Master, and Lance got the runners-up prize, Mr. Goodshow came and announced something that will make Charizard get excited. "Hello my fellow trainers and Pokémon, the League is proud to announce that we will be allowing every trainer who is above an elite level to challenge Red the Pokémon Master, and any trainer who is able to beat him will be made a Pokémon Master. And because there can only be one Master, and two Masters at the minimum, if more than one trainer is able to defeat the current Master, you will be crowned a Pokémon Master along with Red," Goodshow announced, getting a loud cheer from everyone. "Trainers who want to challenge Red, please sign in at the Pokémon Center, and the battles will be starting tomorrow morning." Charizard looked at Ash eagerly, asking if they could challenge Red in a Pokémon battle, but Ash said no. So Charizard, knowing that Ash could never say no to Pikachu, made a deal with Pikachu, that if he made Ash challenge Red to a 6-on-6 Pokémon battle, then Charizard would give him as many Ketchum packets as possible. And so, Pikachu somehow managed to make Ash challenge Red to the battle. So, on the way back to the Pokémon Center, to sleep, Ash signed in to challenge Red, and when he saw how many people challenged Red, they weren't many trainers, just 4 and counting him will only be 5 trainers. Cynthia too, decided to sleep with Ash and the group, and so they upgraded their room to include another single bed for Cynthia and others will sleep in the same arrangements. The next morning Ash slowly got up from his bed, careful not to wake up Serena. He smiled fondly at the sleeping figure of Serena and then went to change and get ready for the day. Pikachu, who woke up with Ash, went with him to get ready, and since today was a special day, take a bath. I'm not sure what's the time PRD when people wash their pets' Pokémon, so I'm just gonna say that every week. After getting ready, Ash and Pikachu went to check when he was to battle Red. He was told by the nurse Joy in the front desk in the Pokémon Center that it was at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. He thanked the Joy and left to eat breakfast. Just as Ash was going to leave the cafeteria, he met up with Serena, Clement and Bonnie. "Where are Cynthia and Diantha?" Ash asked, looking around to find where the two champions were. "They left to get everything ready for today's battles between Red and the challengers," Clement replied, looking at Bonnie angrily because she asked another girl to marry Clement, but before the girl could reply, Clement took his little sister with the palm hand and dragged her away. "Oh, I just hope I at least stand a chance against Red," Ash said nervously. "You will do great, Ash, believe me," Serena said, trying to cheer her crush. "I hope so," Ash said. But let me go call Charizard back and then train with all my Pokémon so that they are warmed up for the battle. My battle will be at 3 p.m. this afternoon, just so you guys know. Ash said, going out of the Pokémon Center. Okay, bye Ash. Good luck with training, said the group, waving to Ash. Since Charizard broke out of his Pokeball yesterday, Ash decided to let Charizard roam free for the night, and told him to come back to the forest near the Pokémon Center next morning. That's where Ash and Pikachu were going now. And that's where he will train his Pokémon. When Ash reached the forest clearing, he was met face to face with his Charizard, who greeted him by firing him a customary flamethrower at Ash's face. After Ash got a little bit better, he released all of the Pokémon he had at the moment, which were his Talonflame, Greninja, Hawlucha, Noivern, Sceptile, Glalie, Heracross, Garchomp, Lucario, Pidgeot, Gardevoir, and Emboar. Lucario and Gardevoir both had a Mega Stone, a Lucarioite and Gardevoir respectively. Ash's Gardevoir, just like Diantha's one, has a pendant, which contains the Mega Stone for her, and Lucario has a bracelet which contains the Lucarioite for Lucario. Looks just like Coronus Lucario's Mega Stone holder. The Lucarioite was given by Cynthia, and the Gardevoirite was given by Diantha, and Ash put them on his Pokémon, just as he was given to him yesterday. Alright guys, Ash shouted, getting the attention of his Pokémon. First, I'm going to give every one of you guys the Mega Stones I got from Professor Oak yesterday when I got Pikachu's Pokeball, so let's get started. Ash exclaimed, excited about giving his Pokémon their Mega Stones. His Pokémon were just as excited about getting those Mega Stones and testing them out. After a good 20 minutes, Ash put the Mega Stones on his Pokémon, which were able to Mega Evolve. The Pokémon who got the Mega Stones were Lucario and Gardevoir obviously, and then Sceptile, Glalie, Heracross, Garchomp, Gardevoir, and Charizard. Charizard got a Charizardite X. All of the Pokémon looked extremely happy and excited to test it out. Greninja just sat at the side looking at his friends with one eye open, observing the Mega Stones and thinking about when the professors would find if Greninja's had a Mega Evolution, and Emboar was plain jealous that he didn't have a Mega Evolution, but happy that his other friends had a Mega Evolution. Ash, seeing that his Pokémon wanted to test out their evolution, said, "Alright guys, I'm going to return you all guys back into the Pokeball so that I could take off your limiters, so that we stand a chance against the Pokémon Master's Pokémon." Each and every Pokémon other than Charizard, who had already removed his limiter on his own, his Kalos region Pokémon, who were just caught and couldn't train much and had the need to put on the limiters, and Pikachu, who didn't want to go into the Pokeball yet, nodded their heads to show that they wanted to remove their limiters placed on them. So Ash returned each and every one of his Pokémon and then removed their limiters by pressing some buttons on the Pokédex and then releasing his Pokémon out again. But when they were released again, all the Pokémon were surrounded in a bright green aura, which told that they were getting their power back again. The brightness of the green aura was based on the real level of the Pokémon, so a Pokémon stronger than the other Pokémon had a bit brighter aura than that of a bit lower leveled Pokémon. And Sceptile, Lucario, Gardevoir, and Pidgeot had the brightest aura, showing that they were the stronger Pokémon of the group. Though they strongest of the Pokémon, they were still a little bit lower than Charizard, who was the second strongest Pokémon in Ash's group. After the excitement of getting their power back settled down, all of the Pokémon had one question in their mind, that was that why didn't Ash remove Pikachu's limiter? So Sceptile decided to ask for all of the Pokémon, Sceptile Lo. Well, you know, Pikachu doesn't like going to the Pokeball, and I wanted to remove his limiter in the stadium when he battles so that our opponent doesn't know what hit him when Pikachu battles. I'll return Pikachu just before entering the battlefield, so that way Pikachu won't have to be in it for much, and we can stun the audience with the aura it releases once we release a Pokémon who just gets its limiter removed. Ash said, looking at all his Pokémon with a grin. Pikachu accepted the explanation, and made Ash promise that he would never put Pikachu again in his Pokeball after this once, for which Ash accepted without hesitation. Now that all the questions were answered, they tested out the Mega Evolutions, and then trained in their new forms to get used to it. The other Pokémon, who didn't have a Mega Evolution, also trained hard, and Ash's Kalos team trained extra hard to get to their level, but it would take a long time before they could get to that level. After training for a while, Ash captured Charizard again in an Ultra Ball, so that nobody could catch him for themselves. Then he returned all of his Pokémon, except Pikachu, obviously, and Lucario, who just wanted to walk beside Ash. They then left to meet up with the group and eat lunch. Ash found the group sitting in the main area of the Pokémon Center, watching the matches between Red and the challenger who challenged him. But Red was dominating the matches all along. "Hey guys," Ash said, getting up to the group. "Hey Ash, how was your training?" Bonnie asked, excited about how the training went. She was looking at Lucario with hearts in her eyes, wanting to pet the Lucario herself. So, Lucario, swallowing his dignity, bended down so that Bonnie could pet him. Lucarios could be very prideful Pokémon when they wanted to be, so they didn't easily let everyone touch them, but knowing that Bonnie was his master's friend, he let her pet him. It went well. Lucario and Gardevoir got used to their mega forms, and could move even more easily than before with more agility and have more power. All my other Pokémon trained hard to get ready for today's battle, Ash said, with a happy smile on his face. "Let's eat, I'm starving," Ash said, holding his stomach because it was making sounds. "Alright, let's go," Clement said. And so, they went to the cafeteria in the Pokémon Center to eat. After eating lunch, they went to the stadium, seeing that it was already 2:30 p.m. As they entered the stadium, they say a challenger attacking Red's Charizard with his Blastoise, but even with the type disadvantage, Red's Charizard was dominating the battle. Red's Charizard used a Dragon Pulse and the Blastoise fainted from the power of the attack. Ash, seeing that Pokémon that powerful were easily defeated by Red, got nervous about whether or not he could at least stand his ground against Red. But kept his feelings to himself, but was already found out by Pikachu and Serena. "Alright guys, it's my time to battle now, wish me luck," Ash said, trying not to sound nervous. But even when he tried his hardest to keep his nervousness to himself, it was still found out by Serena and Pikachu. As Ash was going to his battle room, I don't know what the room was called where all the trainers go before they are called into the battlefield, he heard someone calling his name, so he turned his head to find himself face to face with Serena. "What is it, Serena?" Ash asked curiously. "I just forgot to tell you good luck for your match," Serena said. "You didn't have to say it, Serena, I know that you will be rooting me on all the way of my journey," Ash said with a smile gracing his face. "But, still it feels good to say it face to face. Good luck on your match with Red, Ash," Serena said. "Thank you, Serena," Ash said. "Good luck, Ash," Serena said again, giving Ash a peck on his cheek and running away, and into the bleachers, where everyone sits. Ash went wide-eyed about getting kissed by a girl, even if it was on the cheek. Ash just put his hand where she kissed him, and just walked into his room, forgetting all about his nervousness on how he will stand against Red. Lucario and Pikachu just snickered about their trainer's actions. Ash returned Pikachu and Lucario after getting into his room, and thought about all the strategies he could apply in this battle, and revising the battlefield, and how he could use it to his advantage. Ash, knowing that Red would start with his Charizard, thought about using his Gardevoir against it, but decided on using his own Charizard against Red's Charizard, knowing that their levels were nearly equal now that there is no limiter on Charizard. And now, for the last battle of the Champions League is between Red the Pokémon Master, and Ash Ketchum of Pallet Town. "Trainers, please get on the battlefield," the referee said. After Ash and Red got onto the battlefield and shake their hands. "On the red side, we have Red," referee said, showing the red flag into Red's side of the battlefield. "On the green side, we have Ash Ketchum," he said, showing the green flag into Ash's side of the battlefield. "Now trainers, release your first Pokémon," the referee said. Red released his Charizard without any commands. "Flare it up, Charizard," Ash said, releasing his Charizard. "Ooh, look at that, folks, this will be a battle between two Charizards, let's see how this battle goes," Mr. Goodshow said. Team Rocket got arrested for tying up the announcers and taking their place, after the match yesterday. Red released Charizard without any commands. "Flare it up, Charizard," Ash said, releasing his Charizard. "Oh, look at that, folks, this will be a battle between two Charizards. Let's see how this battle goes," Mr. Goodshow said. Red started the battle by commanding Charizard to fire a flamethrower at Ash's Charizard, who dodged it with ease. "Alright Charizard, let's return the favor by using flamethrower too," Ash commanded his Pokémon. Charizard fired his flamethrower, which was dodged by Red's Charizard. Red then ordered his Charizard to use Dragon Pulse. Charizard complied and launched a Dragon Pulse at Ash's Charizard, who dodged it again. "Use Aerial Ace into Steel Wing," Ash shouted to his Pokémon. Man, it's hard calling both Pokémon Charizard, and still not getting confused, that's why I'm gonna call Red's Charizard Blaze. Charizard started by using Aerial Ace and getting in close to Blaze, but since Aerial Ace cannot be missed, Charizard hit Blaze with Aerial Ace, and just a moment before Charizard hit him, he turned his wings into steel, making the pain threefold, though it didn't do much to Blaze because of its type advantage over steel types. "Alright, let's Mega Evolve you, Charizard," Ash exclaimed before touching the key stone on his wristband. Charizard was covered in a bright pink light before he Mega Evolved into Mega Charizard X. Charizard is now seen with blue flames spitting out of his mouth. "Now use Dragon Pulse, but swallow it," Ash ordered. Everyone in the stadium was looking confused or were thinking that Ash was crazy to hurt his own Pokémon, that is other than the group. Serena, Clement, and Bonnie, Paul, and Cynthia, who was in the champion's box, knew what this technique was about, just smiled. Red didn't say anything, but it was obvious that he was amazed that someone so young could use such illogical strategies. Charizard swallowed the Dragon Pulse, and his body was covered in a dark blue aura, showing that his attack and special attack status of his dragon-type moves increased. "Now use Dragon Dance, Charizard," Ash shouted out to his Charizard. "Charizard, use Dragon Rush," Red commanded his Pokémon. "Use another Dragon Dance quickly, Charizard, then counted his Charizard with your own Dragon Rush," Ash commanded his Pokémon. Charizard used a quick Dragon Dance and met Blaze with his own Dragon Rush. When both attacks collided, a wave was created from the force of it, which was strong enough to throw the people sitting in the front seats to get thrown back. Blaze and Charizard were fighting for dominance, but slowly Charizard was winning because of the two Dragon Dances and the boost he got from swallowing the Dragon Pulse. Blaze was getting pushed back, and after a few minutes Charizard won the power surge, while Blaze got sent into the ground with a bang. When Blaze got out from the crater on the battlefield, which was created when he fell into the ground with force, he looked weak. Charizard wasn't faring better, he too was tired, but wasn't as tired as Blaze was. "Alright, Charizard, use Flamethrower at his Charizard, and then use Aerial Blitz," Ash ordered Charizard. "Dodge the Flamethrower, and then use your own Flamethrower, but mix it with Dragon Breath," Red commanded his Charizard. Blaze dodged the flamethrower sent towards him, and then fired his own flamethrower, but mixed it with Dragon Breath, making the attack look greenish-red. Charizard then flew into the flamethrower fired by Blaze, but was mostly unharmed by it because the Flare Blitz absorbed all the flames sent its way and used it to power the attack, but he was harmed by the Dragon Breath part of the attack. Charizard slammed into Blaze with a powerful bang, making smoke come out from the collision. When the smoke cleared, you can see that Blaze was barely standing, while Charizard was a bit better than him. "Charizard, use Thunder Punch," Ash commanded. "Charizard, try to dodge it, then use Dragon Pulse," Red commanded his Pokémon. Charizard flew towards Blaze with his arm covered in a yellow aura with sparks flying from them, and Blaze tried to dodge it but was unable to dodge it because he was weak from before, but as a last chance of doing damage to his opponent, he fired a Dragon Pulse at Charizard, in hopes that he would faint. Charizard's fist connected with Blaze just as the Dragon Pulse hit Charizard, bringing huge amounts of smoke because of the Dragon Pulse. "Come on Charizard, you can do it," Ash encouraged his Pokémon. When the smoke cleared, it was clear that Blaze fainted, and Charizard was in his last legs, because he reverted back into his normal form. Red's Charizard is unable to battle. Ash's Charizard is the winner. Red Trainer, send out your second Pokémon. The referee said, after inspecting the two Charizards on the battlefield. Look at that, folks, for the first time in forever, Red's Charizard was defeated, and that too by none other than Ash Ketchum. Mr. Good Show announced, making the crowd go crazy. Aha, I win the bet. Alder shouted happy that he won a bet against Lance. He took the money from Lance's hand as Lance sulked about not being able to defeat Red's Charizard himself, and also because he lost the bet. Come on now guys, the next round is going to start any moment now, keep it quiet. Steven said, staring at the battlefield intensely, trying to learn each and every strategy he could grasp. Charizard, return. Take a long rest, I'll call you later to battle again. Ash said, looking at the Pokeball in which Charizard was. Return, Red said with a small smile gracing his face, returning his fainted Charizard, and taking out another Pokeball from his belt. Blastoise, battle stance. Look at that, folks, Red revealed another of his Pokémon to us. And it's none other than Kanto's water starter Blastoise, Mr. Good Show announced from the podium. If it's a Blastoise, using Pikachu would be my best bet, but I want to save him for Red's Pikachu. I could use Gardevoir on Blastoise, she knows some good moves that could do good damage to Blastoise, and there would be not advantage nor disadvantage to both sides. Let's go, Gardevoir, Ash said, releasing Gardevoir from her Pokeball. Let's go, Gardevoir. Ash said, releasing Gardevoir from her Pokeball. Blastoise, use Water Pulse. Red ordered his Blastoise. Gardevoir, dodge it, and use Calm Mind. Ash commanded. Gardevoir graciously danced around the Water Pulse and used Calm Mind to raise its special attack and special defense. Blastoise used Skull Bash on Gardevoir. Blastoise got surrounded by a silver aura, and then head butted into Gardevoir's stomach. It did some damage, but Gardevoir was completely fine, just a bit winded, because of all the training she got from Lucario and Sceptile. Gardevoir, when it is close to you, use Thunder Punch. Gardevoir slammed her yellow sparkling fist into Blastoise's face, doing great damage because of the type advantage. Use Water Pulse again, Red said to his Pokémon. Blastoise fired another Water Pulse at Gardevoir, who dodged it even without being told so. Use Calm Mind again, and then use Thunderbolt on Blastoise. Ash shouted to his Pokémon. Gardevoir obliged and used Calm Mind again, then fired a very powerful Thunderbolt on Blastoise. Blastoise, being the slower Pokémon, couldn't dodge and was hit by the strong bolt of lightning, doing double damage because of its type disadvantage to electric-type moves. Blastoise, use Hydro Pump, and keep on trying until you hit your mark. Red said, slightly irritated that none of his moves are doing much damage. Gardevoir managed to dodge most of the Hydro Pumps, but still got hit by a few because of the wide range of Hydro Pump. Alright Gardevoir, use another Calm Mind and then use Boosted Magic Bolt. Ash said with a smirk, knowing that the move was going to hurt very much. Try dodging it. Red shouted to his Pokémon. Gardevoir released a large amount of glowing leaves at Blastoise, and then fired a Thunderbolt into the magical leaf. If you observed correctly, then you could see that Gardevoir's eyes were glowing. That's because she was using Physic to strengthen the attack even more, and hold the Thunderbolt inside it, not letting it get away. Blastoise tried to dodge but couldn't dodge it because of the move's nature to not miss, and also because it was being controlled by Physic. The attack did massive damage because of merging two super effective attacks together, and firing them at Gardevoir, which were enhanced by the two Calm Minds she used prior to this move. Blastoise, get in close to Gardevoir, and then use Skull Bash. Blastoise obliged and got in close, preparing to use Skull Bash. Now, cancel the Skull Bash and use Toxic-Induced Bite. Red shouted with a smirk. Quickly, use Magic Coat before the poison gets into you. Ash shouted, panicking. But before Gardevoir could use Magic Coat, Blastoise already bit Gardevoir, but she was fast enough to use the Magic Coat before all of the effects of Toxic took place. So now Blastoise was poisoned too. Gardevoir, try to fight back the pain and use Facade on Blastoise before it can get away. Ash shouted. Gardevoir used Facade, and because she was poisoned, the attack power doubled, doing some good damage to Blastoise. Both Pokémon were surrounded by a violet aura, with violet sparks coming out of them, signifying that the effects of poison were taking place. After the effects of poison took place, then were panting, Blastoise heavily, while Gardevoir slightly. Blastoise, use a barrage of flash cannons on Gardevoir, don't let her dodge any of them. Red exclaimed. Gardevoir, try to dodge the attack. Ash shouted, slightly panicking. Gardevoir managed to dodge many of them, but because she was poisoned, she couldn't move much of her body, and let the poison circulate through her body, so she took the blunt of the attack, taking a lot of her health with it. But she could still go on for another round. Gardevoir, are you okay? Ash asked, concerned about his Pokémon. Said Gardevoir, as she stood up from getting pushed down from the force of the attack. Alright, then use another Calm Mind, and then use Future Sight. Ash said to his Pokémon. Gardevoir used another Calm Mind, and then her eyes glowed bright as she used Future Sight. Before the Future Sight attack comes, keep on firing flash cannons at Gardevoir. Red said. Gardevoir, try to dodge the flash cannons, and counter with a thunderbolt at Blastoise. Ash retaliated. Gardevoir fired a bolt of lightning at Blastoise, who was too busy charging up on flash cannons that he got hit by the attacks. Blastoise then, fighting back the pain from the thunderbolt, fired a barrage of flash cannons at Gardevoir, who tried to dodge them, but some still hit her, doing some damage because of the type advantage the attack has against Gardevoir. Gardevoir, if you could use another attack, then use Electrograssy Legend. Ash said to Gardevoir. Gardevoir nodded and then released a magical leaf attack, then used Thunderbolt on it, and then she used Physic to change the shape into a Rotom in its Mo mode. And let me tell you this, it looked very scary with the creepy smile on its face. She threw the attack at Blastoise, who was too stunned to even try to dodge. When the attack came into contact with Blastoise, a huge explosion occurred. This got tenfold when the Future Sight attack came into effect. When the smoke cleared, it was clear that Blastoise was done for count. Since Blastoise is unable to battle, Gardevoir is the win. The referee stopped announcing that Gardevoir is the winner, when Gardevoir fell to the ground, utterly exhausted and with swirls in her eyes. Both Pokémon are unable to battle, this round is a tie. Trainers, please send out your next Pokémon. The referee announced. Red returned his Pokémon with a smile on his face. Ash walked up to Gardevoir and put her head in his lap, smiling at her. Thanks for the great battle, Gardevoir, I'm very proud of you. Good job out there. Ash said, hugging the embrace Pokémon tightly, and then returning her. Everyone in the audience, mostly girls, was awing at the sight of the interaction between the trainer and Pokémon. Look how adorable that looks, now isn't it, folks? Mr. Goodshow said with an adoring tone, which didn't suit his voice much. Let's go, Snorlax. Red said calmly, releasing his heavy-weight Pokémon, who got onto the battlefield with a small fissure, which shook the entire stadium. Alright then, Lucario, lend me your aura. Ash said, releasing Lucario. Lucario, do you want to Mega Evolve or not? Ash asked his Pokémon. No, I don't, Master, I want to win the battle fair and square just like Gardevoir, who won her battle by her own strength. I want to win with my own strength too. Lucario replied with his aura speech, which was only heard by Ash. Alright then, and don't call me Master, Ash said, irritated that he was still calling him Master. Let's go, Snorlax. Red said calmly, releasing his heavy-weight Pokémon, who got onto the battlefield with a small fissure, which shook the entire stadium. Alright then, Lucario, lend me your aura. Ash said, releasing Lucario. Lucario, do you want to Mega Evolve or not? Ash asked his Pokémon. No, I don't, Master, I want to win the battle fair and square just like Gardevoir, who won her battle by her own strength. I want to win with my own strength too. Lucario replied with his aura speech, which was only heard by Ash. Alright then, and don't call me master, Ash said, irritated that he was still calling him master. Snorlax, use stockpile, Red ordered. Lucario, use Aura Sphere, Ash commanded his Lucario. Snorlax glowed purple, signifying that he used stockpile. Lucario formed a blue sphere in his paws before shooting it toward Snorlax, who was too slow to dodge. Snorlax, use another stockpile, and then use split up. Red shouted out to his Pokémon. Lucario, while he uses stockpile, fire another Aura Sphere, and then use your Aura Shield. Ash retaliated. Snorlax glowed purple again, signifying that he used stockpile, then a purple ball of energy formed near his mouth, then he fired the energy in form of a beam towards Lucario, who used Aura Sphere on Snorlax. Both attacks hit their respectful targets at the same time, but Lucario was able to form his Aura Shield, which was able to block the attack, but he was not fast enough and got hurt a little from the energy beam. Alright then Lucario, charge up with bulk up and then use power up punch. Ash shouted. Lucario flexes his muscles, and charges at Snorlax with his paw surrounded in an orange aura, and punches Snorlax, hurting the thick fat Pokémon, who got pushed back a feet because of the force. Snorlax, get in close to Lucario and use Body Slam. Lucario, fire Aura Spheres until he comes near you, and when he does, dodge it. Ash exclaimed. Snorlax ran towards Lucario before jumping higher than anyone could believe, and was falling down towards the ground with great force. Meanwhile Lucario was firing Aura Sphere after Aura Sphere into Snorlax, who took great damage, but still kept on doing what he was doing. Lucario, seeing that Snorlax was too close to him and was going to fall on top of him, moved away from him. Snorlax, use the momentum to change the attack to Earthquake. Red shouted out to his Pokémon. Lucario, jump up. Ash shouted. But alas, he was slow to react, and Lucario couldn't jump up in time, taking the blunt of the earthquake, which was stronger than a normal earthquake because of the momentum of the jump, as well as the energy from Body Slam, and was able to shake the whole stadium. Lucario, are you okay? Can you keep going? Ash shouted out, concerned about his Pokémon, who was kneeling on one knee panting slightly. Yes, I am, Master, I can keep going. Lucario answered using his aura. Alright then, use Calm Mind and Detect, and charge up for your Aura Beam. Ash ordered his Pokémon. Snorlax, fire a barrage of Focus Blasts towards Lucario, and make sure they hit, Red commanded his Pokémon. Lucario's eyes glowed, signifying that Calm Mind was used, and then closed his eyes while his appendages started floating up, and a blue ball of energy started forming in his paws, which were close together. Snorlax puts his hands together, and creates a light blue ball of energy, and fired it at Lucario, who was able to dodge the attack thanks to using Detect, as well as him using his aura to dodge. Snorlax keeps on firing ball after ball of energy at Lucario at a rapid pace, making it hard for Lucario to dodge, but he was able to dodge majority of them before getting hit by a few, making him lose concentration, but was still able to pull off, and then fired the concentrated blue beam of energy at Snorlax, who was too tired from firing Focus Blasts to dodge it, and took the full blunt of the super effective attack. Snorlax, can you keep going? Red asked his Pokémon, who was breathing heavily and could faint at any moment. Lucario wasn't faring well, after taking the Focus Blasts, which were super effective, and using most of his energy at firing the Aura Beam, he was also tired, and was breathing heavily. Lucario, can you keep going? Ash asked, concerned about his Pokémon. Lucario just nodded his head, not bothering to use his Aura Speech. Alright then, use all you have got into a final Aura Sphere, and make it count. Ash shouted to his Pokémon. Snorlax, fire another Focus Blast using all you got. Both Snorlax and Lucario formed a larger than normal blue ball of energy in their hands' paws, and fired it at their opponent, which hit them fair in the face, creating a huge blast, which formed smoke. When the smoke cleared, it showed both Pokémon standing weakly on their feet. Just as their trainers could give out commands to use an attack, Snorlax fell face first on the ground, creating a shock wave making Lucario unstable, who came down to a kneeling position. Snorlax is unable to battle, Lucario wins. This round goes to challenger Ash Ketchum. The referee shouted, raising the green flag up towards Ash's direction. Due to Pokémon Master Red losing 3 Pokémon, there will be a 30-minute break before the battle continues.